Welcome back. It's still the news review on Unilag TV, and if you just joined in, we just spoke with Mrs. Aregbeshola Oluwatoyin, the Counselor, Principal Assistant Registrar of the University of Lagos. And right now I have with me in the studio Mr. Ishola Hassan, a political analyst. Welcome to the program, Mr. Hassan.
Welcome, my sister.
Okay, so you heard everything that Mrs. Aregbeshola actually said. So please, I would like you to react to that.
Yes, I share some. Before we go further, my name is Shola, not Ishola.
Oh, okay, sorry, apologies.
No problem. And she has mentioned a critical aspect of the act, which is actually of concern to me.
Okay.
That's complexity in our choice of word. The complexity is more than one, and which is critical, because when going through the act, we realize that there's a lot of encumbrances in the act that people will find it difficult to assess if time is not taken. The vice chancellor of a university will be the one to approve this. How many forms does he want to approve? That's number one. How for all the process, and the VC must be the one, not VC or his representative. VC is specific. With the volume of work in our various tertiary institutions, that cannot be achievable in good time. Not that it will not be done, it will be done, but how soon? From Ms. Aregbeshola's position of view that we have 800,000 indigent students, let's assume that all the 800,000 indigent students are applying for this thing. That's the one they know as at today. The new intake will come on board, they will do some analysis in their unit or department, the thing may likely increase. And the VC is the one to address, to sign those documents. It's one of the encumbrances. Secondly, the issue of subject to availability of fund in one of the sections of the Act,
Yes.
2023 on student loan. Subject to availability. Who determines subject to availability of the
funds? Because
they said they're taking 1% of this from FRS, from custom, from all this. After taking all those 1%, with the volume of population and interest of people in education, and everybody applies, I can tell you that if time is not taken, after 2 disbursements, may likely be running below the belt. And they are not planning to give them extra money from a public accounts fund. They have specified where the fund is coming from. 1% of this, and the repayment plan as well. Because that's how I'm going to disagree with Ms. Aregbeshola. She was advocating for extension of the time. I agree to an extent, but the period should not be too excessively long. Because repayment plan, what they want to use as a revolving loan. And when we are giving them 10-15 years of repayment plan, they won't actualize it at all. But 2 years is too small. I agreed with that. 2 years is too small. Because let's assume most of us, as we are growing, when we finish our service year, how many of us got job immediately after service year? Some are actually at home for 2-4 years before I retire from the public service. I know some people that they actually doing what they are not supposed to do in the structure because they just needed an income, and they're not being engaged as a full-time staff, just as a casual. And you expect them to pay 10% of that. What they're taking home is not a take-home pay. It's just an allowance, if I can call it that way. And with the current structure we have as salaries, it's still an allowance. With economic situation we are finding ourselves now, let's look at this position of fueling transport increase, tariff of electricity increase, and somebody that just graduated doesn't have anybody. It's an indigent. People in the village are expecting him to be sending something every month. And you are collecting, okay, what's the current rate now? Okay, level 12 that you asked Ms. Aregbeshola, current rate in some of the states that it pays more is about 125,000 per month.
For level 12?
For level 12 officer. I can say that without any hesitation. And that level 12, if he's not collecting extra loan for maintenance of his family. That's why you take home pay will be 125. Some people take home pay is 50,000 or 2/3 of their salary. That's the rule of the game. You must not collect any loan in public service, anything higher than, you must take 2/3 home. That's the rule. If you are collecting 100,000, you must take 2/3 home. And it's taking minimum amount of money home. And now, who wants to guarantee anybody? When he knows that I'm a level 12 officer, yes, but I can't do repayment of this thing. I'm asked to pay 10% of my money. How do I get 10% when I'm already on loan in the office and now signing as a guarantor for another person? It's not possible. Those are the encumbrances in this law. And these encumbrances must be addressed holistically before we can get a good result of it. It's good and it's a good agenda. There is a good intention of government, but that good intention, they should try as much as possible to work around it not to become another issue for all of us. That's my submission on that for now.
Okay, so as a political analyst, so what are the potential advantages and challenges of government-funded student loan programs compared to private loan-funded ones?
You see, Nigerian policies, you see, as far as I'm concerned, this policy of student loan, from my own perspective, we are too much in a hurry. We rush into it. Everybody should have funded education. It's not loan that we use to fund education. Let's go to other developed countries. Every sector has their own share in funding of education. It's all collective thing. The private sector will participate, government will participate, philanthropic organization will participate by way of actually returning certain things to the system. Okay, almost of us are sitting down here looking for grants in tertiary institutions. But those people are giving us grants to do some research. How long have we been able to, as our industry in our various environments, to contribute to this research, to assist? Okay, we have identified there is a problem of funding of education. They should have bring some people together, let them come together and give us a very good policy of how we can resolve this thing without actually stressing both government, parents, and the institutions. Because I know when I was in Unilag, I didn't pay for anything, more or less. I take my meal and I still give people tickets to go and take meal. And you take a very sumptuous meal then at Akintujojo now. You go with your ticket. Every Sunday, most of our friends come from town because we have very good things on ground. And government is the same government that are doing it. And they are not compelling us. And what am I paying? If as at today I compare what I'm paying, I've not paid anything. And that's the thing. And now these people are paying from their throat. And a lot of people cannot fund education. Parents cannot pay for school fees. And now we are saying we are bringing loan. And the loan to accessibility will be a little bit difficult. But for government, I appreciate an attempt. Because in the past there was a student loan. That some of our people who used it to go to overseas. And they became somebody. The former loan, I know in Lagos State we usually collect at Brickfield in Ibutemeta by Papa Road. There's a loan, there's a scholarship, there's a grant to some people. Up to now, it's still on in some states. But you see, most of these things, some of us will benefit and some of us will not benefit or have access to it. And not because we don't want to have access to it, because we don't have people that can push on our behalf. Let me put it in a proper perspective. As of today, with the problem of education, in terms of payments, most of our brothers in the other side of the divide in Nigeria, their government pays 100% of their school fees. They give them allowances. They spoil them. When they come to Unilag, they become king. Why people within this environment struggle to get payment of minor things? Because it's government sponsored. They don't care whether there is anything. Don't worry, my people will pay. My people will pay. And some of them spend a longer period. But we at this end, We find it difficult to get any access to anything. Some of them with scholarship, bursary that they promised them. Some of them might have finished their program before getting the bursary. Some of them are actually at the verge of being sent out of school for not paying one thing or the other before the bursary will come on board. Federal government should liaise with its agencies and the state governors to make sure that this thing works. Because it is collaborative effort. What the state government has to do, they should do it as at when due for their citizens. And that will be able to relieve the student loan that the federal government is bringing on board. That is my solution.
Okay, so still on collaborative loans, how can political leaders collaborate with educational institutions, financial experts, as well as stakeholders to enhance the feasibility and effectiveness of student loan?
Everything depends on policies. Everything still gets back to the head, the federal government. Because all what we're doing in this part of the world, directives or instructions come from a policy formulation. If our policy formulation is properly constructed and is right, we'll get it sorted out. Nobody can do anything on his own. Like, okay, in terms of the last dispensation that we just rounded up, we are aware that the construction of Apapa Road, Apapa Oshodi Road, was given as some concession given to one of the companies that operates in that area. Because for me not to violate the rule of the game, I won't to mention anybody. They gave them tax relief for a certain period of years. And they constructed that thing. The road is fine. I agree with all the content of the road because I actually passed the road regularly when it was being constructed and I saw the base of the foundation of that road. At least from Yanosolo to Shudi axis that I commute regularly. I can see the extent of what they did there. Fine. Now, they can still go to some of these companies as well. Look, this is a project for all of us. What are you bringing on the table? We have done our analysis. When we need AZ amount to fund indigent students or this student loan thing, and we want everybody to benefit. They can copy the Unilag agenda if they don't want to give money to government because most people doesn't trust government.
Don't trust government.
They don't trust government, including some of the political class too. They don't trust us. I know that. But the bottom line is that if they talk to them, okay, we'll get 100 indigent students in this environment that you're operating from, adopt them. That may likely assist in actualizing effectiveness of this student loan. Secondly, the political class, they won't join you. Forget it. They won't join you. Because 80% of our interest is not on is where we want to, what we want to achieve and where we want to go from where we are. No politician is actually willing to stay behind. He wants to become a king. He wants to be a dictator of who comes on board after me. And when we are doing all those game plans, we won't think about you, please. Forget it. That's the problem of we politicians. Some of them are doing it on a private level, though. Because conveniently I can say Senator Wamako from Sokoto is doing a very beautiful job for his people. But I'm aware, I'm privileged because when I was in one of the private institutions, sponsor almost every year close to 120 students. Maybe our political leaders can appeal to some of them that they know they are well to do the needful. By adopting people in their various environments too and bring them on board. I know Kano state government during the Kwakwanso regime too did something closer to what that guy too did. He too sponsored some of the indigenous students in Kano state to some of the private universities in the southwest, not in their own state, in the southwest. And they continue. As at last year, I'm aware that they still continue sponsoring those students in that state. If government, the leadership, all our political class, the structure that we have in place can appeal to some of our major stakeholders to assist indigenous students in the area, they should not look at it from a political point of view, but see it as a development of the people around them, and that would be better. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you. I could actually ask you more questions, but time is actually against us.
No problem.
And I hope we'll be able to speak with you later in the future.
No problem. Thank you very much.
All right, and that's how far we can go on the program today, and also on the topic student loan. And we all need to understand that the feasibility of student loan rests on their accessibility, financial viability, repayment terms, and of course, long-term sustainability. I am Vina Peters. Do have a wonderful evening.